Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we will begin the meeting. This is Bronx Community Board 7 Housing, Land Use and Economic Development meeting. And that this would be the guidelines. On September 2nd, I will share the oops, what's going on here?
Look at that. It looks very
Wow.
space age.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yes. Wow.
Take
Fancy
the
graphics.
wallpaper out of it.
All right, so let me read this from this other screen. On September 2nd, 2022, Governor Kathy Hochul signed into law Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021, which authorizes the community board to run this meeting remotely, and minutes will be taken for record keeping. The minutes will appear on our website within days and can be requested from the Bronx CV7 staff at any time. If you're calling into the meeting on the conference, controls by joining from landline or cell by calling dial-up number. That controls are as follows. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, *9 to virtually raise your hand. And this is how this meeting will be run. CV7 has a code of conduct that reads as follows. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive language, images, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board executive committee or any other assigned committee for I lost my repeat offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for about the amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committees of the participants in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If a person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities shall be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker, presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raise hand button on your screen or Zoom, or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation. And after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions. By presenting the raise hand button on your screen, Zoom, or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the door, opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. No other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed in the next meeting granted this time, and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussions, and public comment portion, the committee will begin the discussion after each presentation agenda item and will conclude with a decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there's any questions related to meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function or raise hand functions now or contact the district manager. Now, if you give me a second, let me try to fix this illusion, optical illusion we have here. Okay. So the agenda is as follows: meeting guidelines, introductions, and the attendance. So I will take the attendance now. Eric Asensio is here. Myrna Calderon,
Present.
okay. Sandra Erickson,
Sandra Erickson is present.
thank you. Mabubu Jewel. Edgar Ramos. Helene Red. And Barbara Stratton.
Barbara Stronzer is present.
Thank you. Following, we will review the previous minutes. Let me see if I could, I had them open, but now I'm not sure where they went. But they were attached with the invitation. Did the committee get a chance to review them?
Yes, I reviewed the minutes, and I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the prior meeting as presented.
I second it.
Thank you both. Anyone opposed to the motion? Or can we just approve the minutes as they are? Say aye.
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 Thank you. All right, follow up from the previous minutes. Our biggest thing will be the Armory and the Fordham Landing that we can probably speak on about later. And today we have an update about the Canva buildings being built on 203rd and 202nd Street. We have Francesca from Canva to provide us with that update. Give me 1 second, Francesca. Let me try to close this. Find the right window to close this. So with the key, so that we can see you. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Francesca Brown, and I am project manager for the Canva Housing Ventures project on 202nd and 203rd Street between Briggs and Valentine Avenues. I'm here this evening to provide some updates on the project status and some really exciting news about our anticipated closure and completion of construction. So just to give an overview of the project, it's a 2-building development, a total of 323 units, and it has a wide array of income distributions from 30% AMI all the way up to 80% AMI. The project has a 60% formerly homeless set aside for individuals and families currently residing in DHS homeless shelters. And so just for some quick updates on the project, we are 70% complete with construction, and we anticipate having a temporary certificate of occupancy for both buildings in the first quarter of 2023. So we will be wrapping up very soon. We're already in October, and before you know it, this development will be complete and ready for residents to move in. So we're really excited about that. As we are preparing to wrap up construction, we have started the marketing process with HPD. We had our kickoff meeting not too long ago, and we are preparing to have the Housing Connect lottery launch for this project. As of today, I do not have the exact date of the Housing Connect lottery launch, but I can tell you that it will be in late October, early November. That's what we're targeting. That's the update that I received from HPD marketing. As we've discussed previously with Community Board 7, we really want to give Community Board 7 members the opportunity to learn more about the project, as well as learn more about how to correctly fill out a Housing Connect profile, how to maneuver the system since it has been updated. So I have sent HPD Marketing Community Board 7 members emails. Actually, Eric, if you could send me your email, I did not have yours, but I had a host of others. So I want to keep you in the loop as well. Just so that we can facilitate the communication between the HPD marketing team, who will be hosting the Housing Connect lottery tutorials for the community, and also Community Board 7, so that we can bring you all together so that we can figure out the best time, the best way to conduct these meetings, whether it will probably be Zoom, but just figuring out the best timing and how we can make sure that we open up this opportunity to as many Community Board 7 members as possible. We want to make sure that everyone in the neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods know about this project first. If you walk by it every day, you see it every day, you stop by and ask questions, it's only fair to make sure that you have first dibs on information. So I do recall that there's a representative from HCD on. I think Anna is still on. She may have had to jump off, but she was the young lady on the call earlier giving the information about the telephone number. So she and her team are engaged. I will send an email to Community Board 7, just linking everybody together so that we can coordinate, make sure that we have these tutorials set up so that Community Board 7 members understand the Housing Connect lottery process, not only for this project, but once they have these skills, they can apply them to any future lottery that is posted online. So that's what we're hoping for. Another topic that I wanted to just give some updates on as far as moving out of the construction phase into the permanent phase, job fairs, local hiring. In the earlier part of the year and also during the summer, we hosted 3 job fairs for construction jobs in Community Board 7. So I'd like to take the time to thank CB7 for distributing information on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. I saw a lot of reshares and it was very helpful to us. So thank you for sharing that information. As we're moving out of the construction phase into permanent, we will have job offerings for permanent positions for the building, for maintenance, for social service positions, for security, and there are a wide array of opportunities that will be available. And once those opportunities are posted, we will share that information with CB7 to make sure that you share that information with the community. As we always say at Canva, there are plenty of opportunities to work at Canva, not only at the new buildings that will be in your community, but also in the 5 boroughs. So if you go to canva.org/careers, there's a wide array of opportunities available for employment, for immediate employment. So feel free to take a look at that. And those are my main updates. Just to recap, the project will be complete first quarter of 2023, ready to move in. We are starting the Housing Connect lottery process at the end of October, beginning of November. We will have the exact date fairly soon, and we will share that with you once HPD provides it. We would like HPD and Community Board 7 to work together to schedule some Housing Connect tutorials via Zoom so that the community can have information about how to correctly upload their information and apply for Housing Connect lotteries. And permanent job opportunities will be coming soon.
Great, thank you, Francesca. I have seen that you guys have posted job openings in the train station, even in Bedford Park. So you have been very active in trying to get the community to work close to where they live.
Right.
Hire locally.
That's right.
Barbara, you have a question?
Could you just repeat how many supportive housing units are in the two buildings and how many affordable units?
Sure. So there are 194 supportive housing units, and this is across both buildings. And there are 127 units that will be that are rented.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And those will be the ones through the Housing Connect, right?
Right. So there are 8 federally funded units that HPD will fill, and then 119 will be on the lottery.
Okay. Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say hi, Francesca. It's nice to see your face. Sorry, I don't have a
Hi.
camera. And Michael, how are you? Long time. I'm stepping out. I just wanted to make sure that if anyone is actually have any additional questions, they can definitely ask me now. Otherwise, we will definitely see all of you when we're doing the presentation.
So Anna is from HPD Marketing, just to let everybody know.
Great. I will also send you my email, Anna, just so that you have it for when we can help you arrange the meetings.
That's great. Thank you so much. Francesca and I was actually speaking about that today. So that's a good thing that you brought it up. So thank you, everyone. I'm sure that everyone is home. So if you are not home, get home safe and take care. It's nice to be part of this presentation. So take care and be safe.
Thanks,
Okay,
Anna.
let me find out if there's any questions for you before.
Oh, sure.
Jump
Thank
out.
you. No problem.
Maybe from the there's a question: would the training be in multiple languages?
So, Jahida, I speak Spanish. So if you have questions, I can definitely answer in Spanish. That's the only language I know. Other languages, I won't be able to assist.
Okay, anyone else from the public have questions for HPD in regards to the Housing Connect or the units at these two buildings?
I have a question.
Sure, Leticia.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Eric.
So what happens when, after you get into the, you get the apartments through Connect and, you live in there, everything's fine and dandy, but then you lose your job. How does that work in regards to the rent you were once paying, because you went in as a particular AMI, but now your income went down. What is the process and what's supposed to happen in regards to that, in regards to like the apartment situation? Like what's supposed to happen in it? Like I have a family member that they lost their income, but because of the type of housing that they're in, the rent went down like completely zero. So I guess maybe the city or whoever's paying for it. But then in the situation here, they're not. They're like, oh, well, we'll give you information for Section 8 to help you pay rent. And I'm like, but if your AMI went down, how is that supposed to work? One person said, well, they'll make you move out of the apartment because that apartment is specified for that particular AMI, but there's no other apartments available to move into. So basically you're still at the same rent, but we'll try to give you some guidance on who can help you pay the rent. But then I'm like, okay, well, the person's income, although they do get severance, their severance falls in between two AMIs. So they were trying to figure out, well, does their income, does the AMI now go to the next one, which is the 90%, which would still allow them to stay in that same apartment, but that didn't seem to be the situation with management. Management wasn't seeming to want to budge on bringing their rent down.
So it seems like you have two questions and what you ask. So I think I can answer one, and I think Francesca or Michael can answer the second question. The first thing is, so if you are not paying, if you are able not to pay for your rent, yes, you can get help from HPD or any other sources where they can help you pay the rent. Michael can correct me if I'm wrong on what I'm going to say next. You don't lose your apartment. You stay in that apartment. What will happen is that you would have to definitely find other sources. Otherwise, if you're not working, you're not going to be able to stay there because, you can't pay the rent. But that's the only way that you will be kicked out, not moved anywhere else.
So I'd like to add on to that,
Mhm.
and I think that's a really good explanation of the process. But I'll speak specifically for this project. So take into consideration what Anna, just said. One of the great amenities of this project, CHV 202nd and 203rd Street, is that we have on-site social services for all tenants. So not just supportive for everybody. And so what does that look like? That looks like financial guidance, resources to, for, as she mentioned, Section 8. Are there other vouchers or programs out there that can help you with your situation? Economic development. We have healthcare on site. So all of these things are available to all of our tenants as an amenity to help them in the event that things, fall by the wayside. Like, you don't expect to lose your job, but sometimes, unfortunately, it happens. So we have these resources on site for all of our tenants so that they can have a caseworker who can help them walk through the different resources that are available in New York City to help them with whatever issue that they may have. Our goal is to provide permanent housing for people. We don't want to put people out. And that's one of the reasons why we have that service on site, is to make sure that we're kind of catching you before you fall so that you know what's available to you, you know what your options are, and then you can move forward from there.
Okay, thank you. Sandra?
Yes, I just wanted to say to Letitia that these are all rent stabilized units. So while the rent doesn't go down, up and down according to one's income, keep in mind it doesn't go up either. People can come in at 30 or 40 or 50% or whatever AMI they come in at. And then as their job opportunities grow, their rent remains the same and only increases by the Rent Guidelines Board increases. So it is very, very stable housing. And it's great that Francesca mentioned that they have social service available there. Not everyone has that, so they would go to Home Base or Bronx Works for for help with those if they do run into a situation. But it is rent stabilized housing, and you don't move around. AMI is only what you came in at. Then as you become 120% AMI per, tenant, you still get to keep your initial rent with rent guideline board increases. I just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
So I know Jahida said that she would like diverse languages. We will bring that to the table, excuse me. And hopefully someday we will have somebody that can speak multiple languages and can translate or answer questions in multiple languages. But right now we don't. But we do have different languages if the person call us. So we do have people that speaks French and people that speaks Bangladesh, people that speaks Creole and Haitian mixed, English that is Creole. We also have people that speak a little bit of French, like I said, and so we trying to bring different people that speaks different languages to this community that's marketing. But when we're doing this meeting like this or presentations like this, we don't have that, which we are working on it. Maybe someday we are able to provide that information in different languages. Hi.
Hi, Anna. This is Jahira. I'm the secretary of CB7. The reason why I asked is because, like I said, our community is very diverse and it is changing. So if we're gonna have these trainings, I believe that it would be prudent to have these trainings in other languages because we're having an influx of people moving into our community. And some of them don't know what they're getting themselves into because of the language barrier.
Which
So
I agree with you. I'm not saying that I disagree. I'm saying that I agree with you. That's something that we are working on. Right now, honestly, right now, we don't have that to give it to you, to give it to your community or to other community. But yes, we know the importance of having different languages, to know different languages, to be able to communicate. And definitely you are 100% correct on that. Communities are actually growing, and by growing, we have different languages, different cultures, different ideas. So I understand exactly what you're trying to say, but we just don't have that to offer right now.
okay, well, and hopefully by the time we get to this, it'll be nice if it can happen. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We will take that in consideration.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So if there's any other questions for Francesca about the buildings, we'll be looking forward to seeing them completed and get back the parking and get back the streets not being obstructed. I'm sure the community will be very happy about that too.
Agreed.
All right, so if there's not any other questions for me, I will leave this presentation that you guys having right here. So thank you so much for the invite again, Francesca. We will keep in touch.
Surely.
Thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful evening. Take care.
Thank you, Anna.
Hey, thank you.
Take care, Anna.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Anna.
Okay, so moving on, thank you also, Francesca, for keeping us updated all this time. This is your several visits to the board by now, so you're like a member now, almost.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to the agenda. Is anyone from HPD on the line that would like, there's anything to share? that's going on with HPD in the community? Okay, anyone from DOB? Then the next one will be CCHR.
Hi, Eric.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you? Good evening, everyone. I don't have any major updates. I just wanted to hop on just because I was invited by Jade and Carla, just to remind everyone that the Commission on Human Rights is, operating. Our office is now open for visits as long as an appointment is made, and you can do that by calling my office number, which I'll leave in the chat box. I'll leave all my contact info in the chat. But for folks who may have not seen me before in a previous presentation, I'm Orlando Torres, and I'm the director of the Bronx office for the Commission on Human Rights. And we deal with discrimination and harassment cases in housing, employment, public accommodations, and as well as in some other cases. So just wanted to remind everyone that the fair housing laws of New York City include protections against discrimination for having a housing voucher, for being of a certain race or age or ethnicity, for speaking a certain language, or believing in a certain religion, for things like disability, so on and so forth. I'll probably be giving a more extensive presentation on the fair housing law next month, I believe. I guess I have to confirm that with Carla and Jade, but always happy to, make presentations for CV7 in any area, housing, employment, public accommodations. So just wanted to say hi and check in and see if anyone had any questions in general. I'm happy to answer them now.
Anyone have questions for Orlando? Okay, so hearing none, thank you, Orlando, for coming, and we look forward to your presentation coming up.
Great. I'll leave my info in the chat box.
Yes, please, thanks. Next we have, is anybody here from city planning? I know that it's not listed on the agenda, but they're always helpful with information. Okay, anyone, any agency that can update us on the armory? I don't see the councilwoman's. And Fordham Landing, I guess we don't really have any updates on that this month, but we'll keep those in the agenda just because those are major projects also happening in the neighborhood. And then next and last item on the agenda, we have for budget, capital budget items to discuss. Okay, can anyone see my screen? No, not yet.
No.
No, we can't.
Let me see. Okay. So these were the items that we have submitted to the board for 2023 capital requests and expenses. The number one item that the board had was to request for HPD to provide more housing for middle income households. And the response was that the agency would try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. I think this is an item that the committee should keep on. Does anybody in the committee have comments about this item? Oops, sorry. Okay, moving on. Then we had requested as an expense to expand programs for housing inspections to correct code violations. To provide additional personnel for HPD to enforce the housing maintenance code. This was also saying the same thing, that the agency would try to accommodate the issues within the existing resources. Does the committee think we should keep this item?
Which one, Eric? The one on the code violations?
Yes, this one here.
Yeah.
To add, provide additional personnel.
Well, you know, in my opinion, this is what I do, and I see that HPD is extremely responsive in that item, even more so now, particularly now with fire code violations. They've become very, very pointed on that. So I think they're doing a fine job on that one, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, so you think this is something we should remove as a request or just keep it on?
Yeah, I would keep it on.
Okay. Myrna, any thoughts?
I muted
Okay.
myself. No, I think it should stay.
Okay.
I think it should stay because, you know, everybody has different experiences.
Right, so the next item on the request was to improve housing, public housing maintenance and cleanliness. This is in reference to specifically 2663 Heath Avenue at the NYCHA development there. And the response was approval of this request depends on sufficient federal state funds. I think this is an item that also needs to remain.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, the next one was support local CBO's efforts to provide or expand district marketing, branding, and promotion. This was also in need of the community businesses needing more support and funding. The response was the agency would try to accommodate this issue within existing resources.
I think it should say our
I
small
agree.
businesses
I
have
agree.
gone through hell and back. I think we need to keep that on.
Yes. Then the following was provide or enhance rental subsidy programs. The lack of affordable housing and the continuing decline in the number of Section 8 vouchers has made it impossible for many residents to find affordable housing options. This was also said that the approval of this request depends on sufficient federal and state funds. So we'll keep that on because that's still an issue, right? For
Yes.
me.
Definitely.
I would keep it.
Yeah.
Then the next one is investing financial incentive and low cost financing or job creation and retention. Within our community experiencing, I guess this has to do, we just need to update this. We would just need to update what the employment rate is as of this year, I guess. And this was also the agency would try to accommodate this issue within existing resources.
Yeah, Eric, what is the unemployment rate? Is definitely lower than this. When was this from?
This is from September 2021.
Yeah, oh, okay, I thought it was lower than that. So yeah, we should
Yeah,
just
so
make
this
sure we
year
have the
is-
right
I'm
figure.
not sure what it is this year, to be honest.
I
We'll have
believe
to look.
it is now.
Right,
Should stay.
yeah. Then the other item was support local CBO's efforts to provide the same item. So this one, they said that the small business SBS is available for technical assistance, and a sponsor group should apply for the agency through its funding process. So if we know of any agency that can help with this, then we should have them apply. Maybe the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, right?
Absolutely, the Bronx Chamber. In fact, Barry was going to, wanted to find out when he can come back. We have a whole host of programs to help small businesses. And we
Mhm.
get grant money to do that. So the resources are there. So we just need to link our businesses and our bids and other businesses to the resources available in conjunction with the Bronx Chamber and SBS.
Yeah, maybe we need to have the
So,
bids come in.
Yeah, can we
and
put that
give us-
on for the
give us an
November
update.
7th? The November 7th meeting? Can we have Dari come or another representative from the chamber? Let's have them come and address this item specifically. I think it'd be
Yes.
great.
And then the last item that we had was to assign additional building inspectors, including expanding training programs. This also has to do with DOB, not HPD, to enforce violations. And the response was that this is not a funding request. But this was listed as one of the funding in the list. This was in the list. So I'm a little surprised why this is not a funding request, but right? It should be.
Yeah, and just so you know, the Department of Buildings is really understaffed right now with building inspectors. That's why we're having an issue. I just heard that there was a hearing, which is why you see so much scaffolding up and not being taken down and not being approved, even though the violations have been cleared. And it's very difficult for building managers to get the scaffolding taken down, even though the violations were taken care of, because they are severely understaffed. So you know what? They do need to hire some more inspectors. So I don't know, if this is not the proper venue to ask for this request, but then we need to be talking to our city council members and pushing something like this through.
Yeah, maybe we need to find another more language in regards to this or something to make it, I think, but I agree. I think that DOB needs more personnel for sure. So is there any other funding requests that you guys think as part of the land use, housing, economic development that we can submit to the board? Or that we should just stick with these? I think these are great. These are still valuable. They're still relevant from last year.
Yes. I move we keep all these requests.
I second it, Barbara or Eric.
Right,
But
yeah.
with just the exception that we double check our unemployment number for
Right.
September of
Right.
this year.
Right,
Correct.
right. We'll just update. We will just have to update that.
Okay.
Okay, great. So hopefully we'll get this. We'll discuss this with the rest of the members in the upcoming executive meeting. And figure out if there's just those small changes, like we said. Also, Jahida said that as of August 2022, the unemployment rate is 6.6%.
Wow, that's I knew it was. I knew it was much lower, so that's good.
Yeah. So maybe that's an item that if the executive board wants to eliminate, I don't think we will have a problem with that, given that it's a low percentage. Okay, any other topics you guys would like to see in the next meeting? But then we'll definitely make it a more about the economic, like the stores and small businesses, going by
Yes, that's a good
bids and the
idea.
chamber, and
Actually, I would like to add an agenda item for the next housing meeting. I attended the Build-A-Block meeting at the Kensington, which is, at Fordham Hill. And some of the residents of Bailey Housing came. And I think it would be nice to have somebody from NYCHA to come and give a rundown of what are the rights of tenants in that live in NYCHA. Because they're having a huge issue with people that don't live there coming into the complex, taking over the playground where their children can't play, driving their cars, blocking cars. And I know there are rules, for people that live there to keep them safe. And, obviously it's still public housing, like sometimes the parks are public, but there's hours of usage, et cetera, that are not being followed. And I really feel for the people that live in Bailey houses that this is just not acceptable. I mean, you can't pull your car out of the parking lot because there's a bunch of cars blocking you because they're all attending an illegal basketball game. So I would like somebody from NYCHA to come and address those issues if that's possible.
okay, then that will definitely make some calls about that and figure out if the staff could get someone here.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe have the tenant association from Bailey Houses attend also.
Exactly. I think two members actually sit on the board, so we need to contact them.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely they should be, so their issues can be addressed directly, because it was pretty serious what's been going on. So.
Okay, let's see if we can make it work for November, if not, the following month.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Myrna.
You're welcome.
Any other suggestions? Okay, does anyone in the public have any issues that they would like to bring up?
I have one.
Go ahead.
In regards to tenants that are subleasing, making a lot of, noise that is not just your regular average noise, using the excuse that the child is autistic, lying to management, telling management that they put carpet down when they did not, getting to the point of where the supervisor of 311 had to call 911 because it's just gotten so out of hand. and then management turning it around to the tenant and saying, the tenant that's been complaining for over a year, that they now feel harassed, that they don't want to pick up their phone because management is just not going out and making sure that these tenants are doing what they're supposed to do. And then stating to the other tenant that, well, there's no such thing in the lease or a clause stating that the tenant has to be quiet. And I was like, yes, there is something in there said that, you should expect noise, but the noise shouldn't reach to a certain point and degree where that you have to constantly, every other day, call 311 because everyone is jumping up and down. And then when you bang, they bang back type of thing. So they're trying to figure out what next steps can they take, because this has been going on for about a year and change now. And then when they try to be nice about it, to rectify the situation, they ask to do a transfer. Transfer to another apartment. I don't need this big apartment. I'll take a small apartment. And now the management is saying, oh, we don't do transfers. And I said, that's a lie, because I've seen it done. I've seen it done. And, this person's been there for 20 something years. These tenants only been there about maybe a year and change. And they're sympathetic to the child being autistic, but it's not just the child making that noise, and they're like, you don't have to put expensive carpet, get a big area rug, get two, really cheap. And management has turned the blind eye. So
I can speak about that a little bit if you like. This is Sandra. There is a right of quiet enjoyment in the rent stabilized lease. And leases also contain a clause about 80% of the floors could be covered if it becomes an issue. But this is probably the number one complaint I get is noise, music, banging, things like that. But generally speaking, by speaking to both tenants, it works with a letter, things like that. But this is a real issue, especially with people staying home more. It was really, really an issue during the height of COVID. It has subsided a lot, but transfers are not always a possibility. But the manager really does have to follow up with a conversation and a letter, and the 311 calls do help. We encourage people to do that and to keep track of the 311 calls. And we can talk. We've spoken before, but you can certainly call me for some other ideas I'd have that we don't need to discuss here. You have my number, I believe.
I don't think I have your number.
Okay.
I don't think I have your number.
Yeah. Well, you could call the board office for my number. If you like.
Okay.
They'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I could just give it to you here. It's 718-293-3344. It's not a secret. I'm easy to find. I don't know why I was saying that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Letitia, please feel free to call me with that or any other issue you might have related to management issues, tenant landlord issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right. Well,
wait. I know I do have one more thing I wanted to say. I don't know if anyone heard that with the migrant crisis, managers are being encouraged to please go beyond their homeless set aside rentals and to rent. Not always use the waiting list or the lottery, to please rent to people in shelters, because so they can make room for people for help in the migrant crisis in the shelter system. So, and there was an announcement today that every community is going to see additional housing, emergency housing for migrants. So I think Board 7, I mean, certainly Board 7 has open arms for every type of housing we've had here, whether it's people formerly incarcerated. I don't know if that's the right term anymore, but you know, all types of supportive housing, treatment facilities and things like that. So we are used to, but communities that aren't accustomed to that, to expect that it's going to be everywhere. So I think, you know, it's been met with some mixed opinion. My office is near a transient men's homeless shelter. And some of the guys have said, well, you know what, I've got a social security number. I've been waiting for 3 years. You know, how come I have to live in a dormitory style place? So, you know, it's a politically hot issue, but just those are the facts, that the crisis is here, and we're going to see some, you know, a lot more housing, and with no notice. That's I think that people should be aware of that. Suddenly, you know, could be a hotel or whatever, but they don't need the permission for it. So, or notice.
Yeah, I think
the
mayor did declare a state of emergency about that.
Yes, yeah. So that's definitely housing, land use related.
Yes,
You know,
for sure.
I also read today, Sandra and Eric, that they're asking developers to transfer some of the affordable housing over for the immigrants.
No, that's not exactly true. But if you read carefully, what it's asking developer and managers is to take what I mentioned, to take more from the shelter population. Because in our when we rent apartments, we cannot rent to people without a social security number.
Oh, okay. So that
because it's federally funded housing, and it has certain requirements. So, but you certainly take more from the shelter system to allow to free up more beds or rooms for migrants.
Got it.
That's because what Barbara's saying is what I heard yesterday, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think that's the case.
That's what I heard. So
yeah, if you read did you get the letter? Because I can send it to you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, if you read the letter, you'll see it. That's exactly what.
Thank you.
That makes sense. So that they could free up the shelter system more and speed up the process of getting people from that list into permanent housing.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Great. But if there's any other comments or questions, if not, if we can have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Chair.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Night,
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night.